Gaz, can you tell me about when you first got into Cuesports, how Cuesports found you?
Oh, I think I'd been and played at my friends' houses when they had the little old sort of squarish tables that were made out of, I don't know, the worst wood in the world, and so I liked the idea and got quite good at it at their houses and thought I need one of them myself. But so it ended up in our main room. Really, I got one Christmas, and it ended up in like our living room where we all just sat and watched telly. It was there in the middle, and it was used as like a bit of a dining table as well when it wasn't being played on. And so that was probably, I don't know, 9 or 10 years old. I got into that, and I'd be cueing shots and hitting people on the head, and the balls would be flying off. It was great, good times. So then I started playing league pool at about 12 because my mum worked in the local club, so I'd start going in there and playing on a proper pool table, and I was playing league pool at like 12 years old, so pretty early times.
And did you progress from that then into snooker?
A few years later, yeah. They had snooker in the club, but I don't think you were allowed to play on them until you're probably 14 or 15, so I just stuck with pool till I was around that age, and then got into a little bit of snooker afterwards, 15, 16 I think, yeah, and just started playing local leagues at that, and that was how it started, yeah.
And was your intention to try and develop yourself as a snooker professional? Was that your ambition at that time?
I probably thought about it, but I don't think I really ever did it as a full-time thing where I thought I could make it. I possibly could have, and looking back now, but I stayed loyal to my local club. It was just like a working men's sort of sports and social club, and there were snooker clubs in town that had dozens of tables and there's people playing for money every day, but I never really got involved in that. I just stayed at my local club. They'd let me have an hour or two's practice here and there when the cleaners are in the mornings and stuff, so I never really got to that side of it where I'm playing for money all day or I'm playing different people. I was just like, I did my own thing at the other end of town, and I'd play snooker one morning, pool one morning, depending on whether I was working or in college or whatever, different things. So it just, I never really got involved with the side of it where people were getting sponsors to say, oh, we'll pay you to play and see if you can make it as pro. I was just out of the way, really, in our little club. So it never really came up as an opportunity that much. So,
do you think if you had gone down the professional route, do you think you'd have been successful?
Possibly now, looking back, yeah, the standard I've got to as I've got older. I mean, I was pretty good when I was young, and I'd go to pro-ams and do okay, but I never really put the time in that some of the other lads that my era were playing. But now when I look at how good I've got later on and how good I am in the balls and stuff, yeah, I'd probably, if I'd put more time in and practice against the right people, probably could have improved and got to a good level, yeah. But I'm happy with what I've done at pool, so it's just what it is.
And just finally in snooker, you're renowned for getting 2 147s in the same day. Tell us about that day and that experience.
Yeah, that was, I guess, about 4 years ago now, just before lockdown. So I was playing a lad from Liverpool. He'd come along. We were going to start practicing regularly. He worked in Southport, where I'm from, and we just met up after work and played for a little bit of serious practice, and maybe a couple of quid. And I think he was winning, and then I had a ton, and then another break, and then it just came. I think we were level by this stage, and the first one, because it was our match night as well, so there's people starting walking in. It was getting to like 6 o'clock. People started walking in a little bit, and the room's getting a little busier. And first one, they were all there really, and I just had to hold myself together. So I took all the reds and blacks, got nicely on all the colours, and that was just like. So the next one, he didn't want to go home because he'd planned like this 3 or 4 hour practice session. I was ready to that would have done me, but we moved on and he broke. So the next one was straight from his break-off shot as well. I potted a long red and on the black, got into the pack and started again. And then the room there's 1 or 2 people walking in still, and there's a bit of a buzz in the room, and it's like 7, 8 reds down, and it's on again. And and I was just in the zone by then. Everything was flying in. I was getting back on the black. I was bringing balls off cushions, and I know it's been done, the 2 147s back to back, probably 15 times that I've heard about, but to actually do it on your next visit, it's pretty rare, I would have thought. So yeah, it was nice.
It's pretty impressive. So moving on to pool, I first met you at a comp, I think it was in Blackpool. I didn't know you at the time, and I looked at the draw and I thought, oh, I've got a nice easy first round here. I think you bashed me up 6-1. I certainly knew you then. So how did you get into the pool tournament circuit? When did that come in your career?
Well, in my sort of early mid-20s, I was doing county and stuff and going to the odd Yarmouth, and I got England trials and actually got in the England squad at like 23 or 24. People don't realise, they think I was just sort of coming on the scene a bit in my 30s, I think. But yeah, I had a year or 2 in the England squad at 23 or 24 and just played in a few friendlies, different things, because their main team was pretty set really. So, but I did play decent level pool earlier on, and then I left it alone again for a little bit after that, and Literally just some of those comps that we'd come over to Yorkshire to, that got Darren Appleton started running quite a few comps in Yorkshire, amateur comps and different things, and yeah, I just started doing quite well and realising I could pinch a few quid and win a few trophies here and there, and started practicing the game more and realising that I could give the big boys a bit of a game as well. So.
And first introduction to IPA and IPA events?
Yeah, I think I'd gone down a similar route again with doing county and getting in the England setup, and thought, oh, it's time to get on the tour, because I'd never done the tour before, and I'd always just done regional stuff and amateur stuff. But when I'd played in some of the events and played the main pros, I was giving them a good game and things. So I thought to myself, yeah, it's time to get on there. And I think the first one I went to was probably in Wembley, at the Hilton in Wembley back in the day. So maybe around 2005, around there. So 18 years ago. So yeah, I won't have hit a ball on the tour till I was 35 years old. So it was quite a late start.
I remember Wembley very well.
Yeah.
Yes. Further down your IPA career, obviously you became number one. One of the few people who've won both the Open and the professional event at the same weekend. I think it was Glasgow.
Yeah.
So getting to number one, what was that like? How did that make you feel?
That was great, because I didn't realise it was so close, and I looked at the rankings just out the blue and thought, oh, I'm number one. I didn't even know I was that close to it really, and that's nice to see, because you see all the great players that are just behind you, and it's that's one of the nicest things you can do, because it's so hard to get up there, because it's a consistency thing. So anyone who's been up there, they've fully deserved it.
And winning both events in Scotland, I can only think of one or two people that have done that. That's some achievement, just to keep that mental focus and throughout the 3 days. Yeah,
because it's easy when you've won the first one on the Saturday night to just have an extra couple of drinks and think, oh, I've done what need to do this weekend, and the Sunday will just take care of itself. But yeah, sometimes you just need a bit of luck on your first couple of games in the second event, and you get on a roll again, and it's before you know it, you're in the final and you got another chance.
So moving forward to 2016, the World Championships that you won, of course, in dramatic fashion against Craig. During the event, did you sense that you were playing well enough to win it?
I did, but there's so many good players and so many little turning points, and obviously I was playing seniors and doubles as well, and there's like match after match, and Dean, we obviously ended up winning the doubles, me and Dean Shields, and he was like pulling me through a lot of the games, because I was going from game to game, and I think I got to the semis of the seniors, and literally I've got to the quarters of the main and won, and that's got me to the Sunday then, and I'm thinking I can actually have a little rest, but we were behind in the doubles and seniors, so I had to go and play more matches in that, and it's just you don't even get time to think about what can happen. You're just trying to concentrate on the next match. So, especially when there's doubles involved, so you don't want to let your partner down.
And what does it take to become world champ? Why is it you and not Craig or any of the other competitors?
Sometimes it's just your time. You might get a bit of luck. I think Ronan reminded me that we played a semi, me and Ronan McCarthy, and it was my break in the decider, and I think the white was heading towards the corner pocket and just got kicked away, and I've ended up clearing up, and if that doesn't get kicked away, he probably clears up, and that he reminded me that a year or so ago, and it's just, if it's your time, it just happens. I had a bit of luck in the decider against Craig as well. I've left myself thin on a ball and just trusted to look really on where the white was going to land, and it's landed pretty much plumb. So you get enough times where you get bad luck, so when it comes your way, you take it.
And obviously the World Championships has grown as an event, since it started in 2014, and it's now, biggest event on the pool calendar. What would mean more to you, winning the title for the second time, or will that first one always be the one?
I think it's hard to say, but I think the first one, because you can't take it away from you then. Once you've got that first one, you've always been a world champion, but to come back and do it at a later age would be good. But I don't think the first one could be beat really at the moment.
And what would you say your greatest strength is in the game overall? Why are you still here, all these years later, still competing at the very highest levels?
Maybe touch play, really. I've got a pretty good break, I think, but I think my touch play, when these tables as they are, they're very slidey and touchy, so you need a good touch, and just being a good potter, and the break helps if you're giving yourself good chances, and mentality as well. I just go out there to enjoy it, and if the worst happens, you're frustrated for 20 minutes, but then you just move on. So I don't dwell on it too much if I have a bad defeat or play badly. I just wait for the next one and try and do better next time.
You've won just about everything in the game. What's your aspirations for the future?
Ooh, another Worlds would be nice, Kev. That would be nice. I got close last year. Liam obviously played outstanding in the final against me this year. Lost in my first match, got a tough draw. Jake Newlove, he was probably one of the toughest draws I could get. But yeah, because I do put a bit more extra time in for the Worlds. That's the one that I do put a bit more table time in. So maybe one more World Championships would be nice.